Okay, let me show you the result of everything you've just seen there. You've already seen the sill cut out. You've seen a clip of that. You've seen how fucked the floor is. So many tiny, well, obviously a lot of big holes there, but like loads and loads of tiny little holes all the way along there. Obviously up there by the quarter panel, but the first thing to concentrate on is the sill. So I'm in two minds. I've a couple of things like. I guess you could patch all of that, but like, God, it'd be an awful lot of like messing and shitting around with tiny pieces, and it's all shitty in there anyway. Like, say, I know you can't really see now. Let me try and put the light somewhere you can actually see what I'm talking about. Yeah, I guess you can kind of see there. Like, say, just below that circular hole there, like, look at how rotten all of that is, and all that stuff that's all stuff that I cut out on the other side. So I may as well cut it out on this side. In here, that's where the mount for the jacking point used to be. I'll show you, that explains why that floor is pushed up. You can't, well, no, you can't really make it out in the video. Well, you can kind of see how it gets narrower as it kind of comes back. That floor has pushed up a little bit. Nothing crazy, but it has pushed up a bit, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But anyway, the mount for the jacking point needs to go there. Where the seam joins just there. There's a lot of messing, for want of a better word. So what I think I'm going to do is, there's two options. You've already seen I patched up a bit of I cut a chunk off the donor car sill, a piece from the front. You've seen I've patched that up. I'll show you in a second. It's nothing special, but it'll be okay. The options are either cut out that entire piece, like literally cut, say, in there, kind of at the corner, all the way along, roughly as far as just before that point there. Cut that out, weld a lip onto it, just a little 90 degrees, kind of a piece that'll curve down like that, and weld the floor that I patched up onto it. And fill the gap here and all that stuff, as you'd expect. Or else, like, cut that entire floor out as it is, try and kind of patch it up and then weld that back in. But like, I think that's a lot of messing, to be honest. Because the only difference, I'll show you in a second, on the original sill floor, it has that lip. You can see the way it curves out like this, and that's where part of the quarter panel is supposed to kind of sit over, or the body of the car is supposed to sit over. Now, when the car was repaired before, I obviously didn't know this till I went cutting it yesterday. The piece wasn't replaced at all. It was literally just the whole long strip that was cut out of that was just welded straight onto that. So I don't have that on the other car, if that makes sense. But I mean, I could make that. It's just a lip with a little bend on it. It wouldn't be that big of an issue to make it, I would think. So I think what's probably going to happen is I'm going to take a bit more time and think about it. I think I'm probably going to end up cutting all of that floor out and put in the piece that I patched up. The only issue is, because it's from the piece that I patched up is from the donor car, which went from about there to there. It's long enough, no problem at all, but the back piece kind of kicks up at an angle there towards the bottom. But again, that's not a problem to bend that and weld it up and stuff like that. I don't think it'll even make any difference when the side molding goes on. I just have to offer it up into place and see. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes, weigh up my options, and most likely end up chopping up the floor. While I'm thinking about it, I'll show you the piece of the floor that I patched up. So now it looks rough there now, but I just have some of the rust conversion stuff to put on it, just to give it a bit of a treatment before I use it. It had a couple of fairly big holes, as you would have seen in the video, which I've patched up. They're not ground completely flat, but again, it'll be fine. Stick primer over it and it'll be okay. Still a little bit of a hole there. There's two options when I'm using it. I'm thinking of just overlapping it inside the existing piece, roughly half an inch, maybe as far as there. So it's kind of like a lap weld, as opposed to trying to butt it up completely flush, because I won't be able to get at the inside. If I could, it wouldn't be a big deal, but I won't. So, and that will leave me roughly about 2 inches at the back, so I've loads of room to play with. The other thing, if I really wanted to, you can see them there, the kind of excuse me, the bead in it, the kind of triangle shape. I could line that up with the existing one that's there, just I guess to make it look more factory, if you give a shit. But it means I would be using it flush to where it is there, and I would have almost no excess room back there, just in case I made a mistake or something like that. Like, it would be nice to have it line up in the same way, but again, no one's going to be looking at it, so I think it's decision made. I think it's time to cut out the floor. Wouldn't it be so nice if it was as easy to put stuff back in as it was to cut it out? Right, here's where we've ended up. Pretty clean cut if I say so myself. Happy enough with it. So at least now, like, I can access everything a lot easier. Like, I can clean down that and see how bad that is. I can get all that shit out of there. I can trim all that piece. I can make a new piece to piece to mount where the jacking point went. That's all the old kind of inner skin of the, like, that patch there was put on it before. I don't really want to have to cut that piece out because it's fine. I might just clean it all down and, you know, trim the excess crap off it or something. I don't really know yet, just because it has kept that shape that I need and all that, you know. So I might leave that there. I was going to cut it out as well, but if you end up cutting out too much, of course, then you've nothing excuse me, you've nothing really to go by when you're making it, like when you're putting it back. So, but for now, yeah, I'm not too worried. The piece that came out, I'll give you a quick gawk. Like, looking at it now, I'm like, fuck, will I just patch the fucking thing? Like, literally just cut it there, put a piece off the new one on, and like just patch up those little guys. Like, I might give that a rub of a excuse me, proper wire brush, like on the grinder, what I'd say. It'll make all them holes way bigger and stuff like that. But I might think about it. It mightn't be a bad idea, but for the time being, at least, I'm going to take the other piece off the other sill, offer it up, and just see how easy or how hard it would be to make it fit, you know. Normally I wouldn't bother showing this, but I'm amazed that it worked, right? So here's what's left of the old mount for the jacking point. You can see it has like the little dimple dyed hole in it and a bend in it. I guess it's for strength. So it's supposed to sit up at like a nearly 45 degrees. There's supposed to be a side on it, blah blah blah. And I was going to make just a flat piece, but I thought, fuck it, I'll give it a go. So I cut out a piece that was about, you know, the same. That's a little over 2.5, or roughly 2.5 square. It needs the other sides, and the hole was like 24-25 mil around. So I cut a square. Now I have the 2.5 by 2.5 there. It looks uneven because it needs to be trimmed. And I thought, how am I going to put kind of a dimpled hole in that? And I used a trick that I had seen on, there's a channel called Make It Custom. It's Jap Hands Customs, a guy named Carl Fisher in Canada. And I started watching it recently, and he does really, really cool stuff that makes it look quite simple. So what I saw him making, I said a dimpled eyes one time, and I thought, you know, I wouldn't have to make anything because I don't have like a mill or a lathe or any of that stuff. So what I did was I got my hole saw, which is as dull as a fucking butter knife, cut my, whatever that is, 27 mil hole it turned out to be, offered that over my 36 mil socket, just put it there, and bent my 27 mil socket down into it. And by Jesus, didn't it give a lovely little dimpled hole. Now the piece warped a little bit, but I bent it relatively straight again in the vise. It's not bad, but like, Jesus, I'm very, very pleased with that. That's fucking great. Cool little trick if you ever need to do a dimpled hole. It's the next day and we have some updates. So I thought about it overnight, and as I mentioned, yes, I don't remember if I mentioned it or not yesterday, I wasn't sure what exactly to do with the floor. So what I've ended up doing is making one floor out of both, if that makes sense. I'll show you now. It's ugly, but it is what it is. So I chopped off a piece of the sill floor, the bit that you had seen me patching up. There's two of the bits that were patched, and I have welded it onto the old floor. Now I managed to patch up those holes. It looks like I got sick all over it, or flicked snot all over it, but fuck it, I mean, it works. I've shone light through it, there's nothing there. I've ground them back as much as I can be bothered. They're not pretty by any means. I have tacked those two bits of the floor together and offered it up, and it fits fine. As for my little mount thing for the jack, you saw me making the dimple dyed piece yesterday. I guess I overbuilt it, for want of a better word. You're supposed to have, you know, the factory one is obviously a lot tidier than that, of course, but like, you know, I don't know, it's ugly, but I mean, I've literally thrown it around the shades and fired it around, and none of that is bent, so that needs to get offered up to the car. I've checked that does in fact fit in position and everything. I tried using Weld through primer. I've never used it before, and I don't know, I don't like it. There's just something about it, just I don't know, it's catches fire, and I don't know, it just, I don't like it. I think I'm just going to stick with doing stuff bare metal and then prime over it. I think it's probably best, but yeah, it came out okay. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll fix this corner when it's on the car, but other than that, I have to finish welding that. I'll weld it on the inside and on the outside, but in the time, or for the time being, I mean, I've put up a new piece in here, that whole section there. That was just me test fitting the mount for the jack, or the little point there. Spot welded it there, and a bunch along the bottom. I might grind them back a little bit, but I don't think there'll be any need. It's a little bit long there, I just need to trim it there. So the next step is to clean up, say, all the edge of that and the edge of the other piece, this edge along here, and I guess I'm gonna butt weld it, and just really take my time. It's probably going to be kind of difficult, but what's new? Oh, I just spotted there is a little hole. You can see a bit of daylight there. I better just zap that closed before I go any further. That would, yeah, that's into the car. Where have I gone? Yeah, I'm closing it there with my finger. But anyway, offer up, it fits nice and flush in there, all the way along there. So I figure if I get a tack there, so then maybe one there. I'll skip that obviously, because that whole corner just seems to be full of seam sealer really. I might have to make a piece to go in there, I'm not sure, you know, a tack there, blah blah blah, and just keep going. It'll be a time consumer process, I guess, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, another quick little update. I haven't been recording a whole lot the last, it's been a day or two since what you've just seen, just because I'm running out of time. I'm supposed to be going back to work, excuse me, in a couple of days. So I find that I'm wasting 15 minutes recording every time, so if I do that once an hour, it adds up, you know. So anyway, floor's back in, not bad, looks okay. I was going to make a cap for the end of there today, but there's no point, because this has to come out and I'll probably need access for that, and to figure all that out I need to find out, because all of it from this section here was rotten. I'll show you in a minute. I need to figure out a shape for that, and also I'm not sure if you'll be able to make this out, but the inner arch is all rotten as well. The actual outer quarter panel is not bad, but you know, it's all chopped up there, so I won't be oh god, sorry, no, it's very hard to show you all of this. I won't be where are we? There we go. I won't be reusing all of that outer quarter panel. I'm probably just going to cut it halfway along the body line and just replace that lip. I'll show you also in a minute. That's where we can, if you need to get into the boot, it'll be handy, you can go in through the wheel arch there. So where I need to cut out here is, you can see the marker line. Well, I probably don't need to come all the way as far as that, but the inner arch welds on there, but I'll worry about that in a while. Probably come up at some kind of an angle there, because all this is crap. I probably don't need to go up that far, but we'll see. And then it's kind of hard to make out here, you can kind of see it in the shadow, that kind of on the shine, that's sort of maybe about an inch body line there. I'm going to cut about halfway through that and come all the way down, cut across here and come down for that. I might try and kind of weld those little holes there closed and just replace that outer bit. I'm not really sure yet, so I did something similar on the other side, and I have access to do it while I'm in there. It's fine, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal, I'm always saying that. It's a little scary, because I don't want to go cutting off the quarter panel until I know how I'm going to fill the gap on the inside arch, which is what I'll show you now. So I have those pieces there, that piece, that piece, that piece, and you can see where it's all rotten and kind of gone to shit there. So a couple of weeks ago, in preparation for all this, I had bought I had bought inner arches off a Prelude. I think it's the wedge shaped sort of one, the 96 to 02, kind of thinking they'd be, you know, close enough, or I'd be able to bend them and shape them and make them a bit more usable. But I probably could, but it's an awful lot of messing to try and get it to fit. So I had cut up one piece and kind of matched it up to the shape. Obviously I was doing this from the inside, you know, but it was pretty close. But pretty close along here. But that radius, that was completely different. They have way more, like that's flattened out already by me, but the actual one has a way more crazy crown in it. You can see across there, which you'd expect. So maybe there would have been a way to chop that up and use it properly, or chop out the entire inner wheel arch out of this and do that or something. I don't know. But what I've come up with instead, I think, now this is going to be very hard to show you, so for some of it you're going to have to take my word for it. I measured the gap, say from there to the body all the way down, and at its widest point, which is roughly there to there, sorry, no, for the glare you can't really see, but yeah, from the marker line to there, about 2 inches, a little less than 2 inches. So, and I measured the whole length of that curve, if that makes sense. So what I've done is I cut a strip about 2 inches. It was a little bit short, so I had to add a piece. Cut a strip about 2 inches wide. And what I have done, you're really going to have to bear with me here now. I'm going to offer that piece in here, bring it right up close to the outer skin. I'm trying to do this now while holding the camera on the phone as well, and bring it up as far as there. I need a little trim on that edge, and then say weld it in here, weld it onto the outer skin, if that makes sense, and then try and get up and weld it up there. Like once I get it trimmed, it shouldn't be too bad, because obviously there's loads of excess there. So I'm not sure if any of that makes sense to you. If not, you'll see it when the end result is done. I don't know if it's going to work. It might and it mightn't. I guess it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, like I keep saying, but time will tell. So I'll be back with it either finished or the car in a pile of smouldering ash on the ground. Right, update on the inner arch situation. So this will probably help you figure out what I was trying to explain. So, you know, as always, it's ugly and all that, but that's what I was trying to talk about. The way it's welded along the edge there and mates up to the old inner arch. Like, I know it's ugly and I know it's looks like crap and all that, and it doesn't fit great and all that, but by the time I put like a bit of seam sealer where are we, you know, in along all there, in there and all that kind of stuff, I think fuck it, it'll be fine. You know, I've not finished along there, of course. I need to fill that hole and that one there and all that, but getting there. So in the meantime, I got a little bit ahead of myself and started chopping off the quarter. So that went like this. And the result is right here. Now, I'm not going to grind them back any more than that. My welds have disappeared kind of nice in some places, and they're still, like, again, my fit wasn't fantastic, but it was okay. I warped the pan a little bit back there, but I don't think it's nothing too crazy. And then the only mistake excuse me, I did make was I should have done all of that in that one piece, but I ended up chopping it there and doing this piece separate because I wasn't sure what way I was going to go about it. I think I just wasn't feeling brave enough at the time, you know, in regard to keeping the profile the same and all that stuff. But I made a few templates and it actually helped quite well, or helped quite a lot. So what I ended up doing was putting on from here down separately to that piece, obviously. So it's a bit of a pain in the arse, like I had to
join them up there, and you know, it's all right. It's not too much of a problem. I'm not that worried. So the next step now is to just kind of, I had to cut that seam just there to get that to lay in properly towards the original body, and to keep that out. I have it tested now. Obviously the side molding is not fitted properly, but I've tested it and compared it to the other side, and it's, you know, it's flush there, you know, in this plane, and there should be roughly a ½ inch or a ¼ inch kind of from, you know, before the molding starts to roll over there. Now, to be fair, that molding is butchered. Do you know what I mean? It's not in great shape. It's all chopped up there, and just that was like that when I got the car. Now the ones off the donor car will probably fit a bit better, and I can kind of fine tune it from there. But realistically, once that all gets filler and stuff anyway, it'll be okay. So that's as far as I've gotten today. We're probably going to leave it at that for today. There's not a massive amount left. Well, there isn't. Like, I need to make a filler piece for in there. It'll probably be a similar process to what you've already seen, just up there, something to that effect. And that'll probably, I'm blinding myself with the light. That'll probably be it for today. Might get that done today, might leave it till tomorrow, we'll see. But yeah, I'm very pleased with how that came out. Again, considering I've never done any of this before, I probably could grind that a little bit flatter. Like, you can barely feel that in your finger, like if you're coming this way. Well, obviously you can catch it with your nail, but it's nothing crazy. So I think I'm not going to start tempting fate like I did with that section in the boot, and start grinding too far. But yeah, I'll tidy it up, throw a little bit of primer over it, and we'll carry on from there. Then we're doing pretty good. Back with update number 642. I'm not making much videos today. I'm not in the mood for this today. I have a fucking banging headache, but I'm only out here because I'm nearly out of time. So the whole front there, front of the sill, whatever you want to call it, is closed in. A bit of seam sealer to finish in the few gaps. The bit of the quarter panel is all there welded up, needs to be just ground down. It's kind of welded on the inside there, nothing crazy, so I need to make a cap for that, for the front there, and then replace, you can see through there, just 2 little bits. So that'll be done from the outside. That's not a big deal. So we're going to keep on going with that. This will probably be pretty close toward the end of the video, because like I said, I'm just not in the mood for today and I'm running out of time. So we'll belt away. There it is, capped off at the end. That was the last piece. That was the last piece to be welded in. Let me set you down here and we'll have a chat. Yeah, that's the last bit put in, the last little piece. I still need to grind it all down, like, you know, as much as needs, but, and seam seal it and under seal it and all that, but I can see why people don't like doing rust repair and things like that. Like, it's not easy at all. Like, it really isn't. It's dirty and it's awkward and it's a pain in the balls, to be quite honest. So I can see why people don't want to do it. But on the other hand, when you're doing it for yourself, you know, it's nice. There's a bit of sense of pride in it, I guess, you know. I never thought I'd see it. Like, I don't know if I ever mentioned this before, but I probably did. I've nearly 2 years waiting on people. Say, you know, one person will say, yeah, I can do it in, let's say, March. Then you contact them in March. Oh, it'll be maybe, you know, June or July, something like that. Or, okay, you know, contact them again. Oh, it'll be another couple of months. And then you contact somebody else and they say, yeah, I can do it, no problem. Just ring me again in a few weeks. Ring them in a few weeks. Same shit over and over and over. And I knew once that started happening that I often thought to myself, you know what, this is going to end up where I'm going to have to buy the gear and learn to weld and do it myself. So I guess I done 2 out of those 3 steps. I didn't really learn to weld, but I bought the gear and I did it myself. So how long any of it'll last, I really don't know. But at this point, like, if there's anyone watching this that knows me or anything, like, you know, I've had this car for 6 years. I got it in October 16, so nearly 6 years or whatever it is. And with the exception of bringing it to a Cars and Coffee local at the end of 2019, and bringing it to Jackfest in Mondello in, I think it was 2017, September 2017, maybe 2018, I'm not sure. I haven't really driven it. I've driven it for one summer, like 3 years ago maybe. So in the 6 years I've had it, it's only really been driven not even a year's worth, not even 6 months worth. I'd say one summer and a couple of those few little trips here and there, and the odd time just to bring it, you know, for a cup of tea, just to bring it out on the road, keep it fresh. So quite frankly, if I have to cut out everything I've done that you've seen in the last few videos, if I have to cut it all out again in a couple of years' time, so what? I just want to drive this thing. It's like it. I just want to drive it. I just want to drive it. I just want to drive it. I want to lift it up and down. I want to air it out on people when I pull into a shop, and I want to make people go, "Look at this dickhead." That's what I want to do. I want people to look and go, "Look at this fucking idiot." That's exactly what I want. So yeah, that's the end of this one, I think. That corner was definitely the toughest. Like the inner arch, the floor, the floor of the sill, the making the mount for the jack and point, stuff like that. Like, believe it, don't get me wrong, I don't expect any of it to hold up forever. I don't expect any of it to be perfect. For all I know, the first time that you try and jack up the car with that piece that I made, it might crumple. I might have to cut it out and do it again. I have no idea. I genuinely don't. But as far as I'm concerned, once it passes an NCT inspection, then I don't care. I really don't. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at here at this one. Oh, one thing I did learn is I guess just patience. Like I said at the very first video, just taking your time trying to do stuff. I guess like it's a lot easier said than done. Obviously, like this has taken me, as I said before, I've taken the month off work and I ended up having to take an extra week. I'm going back. Today is Thursday, I think the 4th or 5th of May, something like that. I'm going back to work on Tuesday. So the aim for that month off was not necessarily to have the car done, back together, rolling, everything. It was just to have the welding done, because for example putting the back brake, the back end back on and shit like that, that's easy. That's stuff I can do, you know, in a couple hours in the evening, or on a Monday when I'm off, or something like that. It's not that big of a deal. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The next video you'll see will be kind of like the front end cleanup, just obviously the back end, under seal, doing some sound deadening in the boot, things like that. So I'm going to try and do that over the weekend, and there's a couple of places local that I'm going to bring it to on hopefully Monday, maybe Tuesday of next week, time allowing, for paint, and at the very least get an idea of when they can do it. At this point, like, I don't give a shit what it costs. I really do not give a fuck. And even if it was crazy money, I guess to some degree I've saved myself some amount of money doing all that welding work myself. I have no idea how much I would have saved, but I've saved something. And yeah, try and organise to get it painted as soon as I can. If I could have, like I said, it's early May now, if I could have this back painted on the road, even if I got July, August, September, like kind of reasonably nice weather out of it, and just put it away in the shed again till springtime of next year, I'd be over the fucking moon. I really would. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that one. Fair play to you if you've stuck with me through all of this. But just remember, like I said before, you can do anything yourself. You may as well at the very least try it. You really should, because if you try it and you can't do it, or you make a mess of it or something, you're going to end up bringing it to someone, paying them to do it anyway, if you can find someone around here that'll actually do this kind of work, which is very difficult. So yeah, we'll see you again soon. I throw a little bit of, extra little behind the scenes pictures on Instagram here and there, so you can follow me there if you want. Sign up for the Lonely Fans, and we'll see you again pretty soon.